we're going to start with what's probably one of the bigger stories, and it actually goes back a couple of weeks. It goes back to, I think, it goes back to the night of our last podcast.
The night after, that Thursday, I think.
No, it was during.
It was during it?
It was during.
Oh, okay.
It happened during.
So it was the second?
Yeah, and it was the Video Game Awards, and about how Konami had basically had lawyers bar Hideo Kojima's entrance to the event, and he was unable to accept his own award.
And good on Jeff Keighley for saying that on
out.
air, because that was not planned, and good on him for doing that. We get on the Doritos Pope a lot,
yeah.
but that was a gutsy move and a proper one.
I think he kind of paid for his sins with that one, and I think.
Oh, has he?
I think that's a pretty big deal to call out a major company in front of an entire audience on a.
But how's he going to pay?
Well, what I'm saying is he I think he atoned for his sins, if that's what I'm saying.
Oh, you mean he atoned by doing that?
Yes. And really, portrayed Konami in the poor light that they deserve to be portrayed in. And Kojima was still under a deal. Was still under contract with them. One day out of his contract with Konami, Hideo Kojima has already formed a new company called Kojima Productions. And he's brought a lot of the members of his team with him from Konami. And a lot of people are excited about this. And he's already announced that he is working on a new property for the PlayStation 4, I believe exclusively. Now, this will probably get a PC release as well.
I think it's console exclusive.
It'll hit PC after an unspecified exclusivity window. To me, this makes a lot of sense for Kojima, seeing as how his breakout hit, Metal Gear Solid, was largely due to Sony and their willingness to push it, and I think he feels comfortable and at home on that platform with that company. There was a video that showed him speaking with a member of Sony, sorry, goddamn my head. Anyways, but they announced the partnership, and it's exciting a lot of people. Why? Because we have a creative force who is now free to do what he wants without worrying about Konami shooting down ambitious, promising-looking projects like PT.
It was Andrew House, President and Global CEO of Sony Computer Entertainment. So they did a very classy sort of introduction.
His
video.
Japanese is fucking insanely impeccable.
Yeah, it was really good.
Talk is like, whoa.
It wasn't like broken at all.
If I had closed my eyes, I would not have guessed that he was not a native speaker.
Yeah, and so he just said that, we're proud to have him here, obviously. And so, I mean, there's a lot to sort of, there's a lot of questions still to be answered. What's the game going to be like? When's it going to come out? The good news is, he's bringing over, I mean, you can say probably almost everyone jumped ship from that was working with him before.
In his team.
Yes. One of the most important parts I saw was that you have the one of the head artists, Yoji Shinkawa. He was the lead artist for an illustrator for Metal Gear and Zone of Enders series. So he's coming on board. And so if you get the guy that basically is responsible for the look, that's like half of it right there.
You've got the brains and the look.
Yeah.
I mean, you're well on your way to something promising. A lot of people, I think, want this to turn into a finished form of PT of Silent Hills, called something that's not Silent Hills. I would love to see that too, but I have a feeling that if I was in Kojima's position, I would probably want to start with a fresh slate with nothing that reminds me of my previous employer.
Sure.
I would love to see that idea revisited. I mean, as much as anyone, I wanted that game to come out.
Norman Reedus said he wanted it out.
Yeah, so did Guillermo del Toro. I mean, I think everyone does, but I think Kojima will probably do something new, and I think that's absolutely okay.
He'll probably, sort of like how Mighty Number 9 is like a Mega Man clone. I don't think he might necessarily put out a Metal Gear Solid clone, but it'll probably have to be familiar enough to fans to want to say, oh, this is a property from a guy that made the franchise we loved before. It's going to have to be somewhat connected to that, I think, in order for it to be worth it for Sony to back this. Now Sony's not. It's not clear if Sony's giving monetary support, monetary support, but they're probably offering some sort of production support if it's needed.
It's a publishing deal, so there's something there.
Something's there. There's going to be some money for it to be exclusive, obviously. Sony is still trying to win over this Xbox One war, by going after this sort of thing. So it makes sense for them to throw money at Kojima. I mean,
Sure.
having the Shenmue be exclusive is a big deal. To a much smaller extent than this, obviously.
But see, I think that's kind of my point. I agree with what you say, but I think at this point, Kojima has enough clout. I think the name means something to enough people who play games.
That whatever he puts out,
that it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to look like Metal Gear Solid. The people who play those games know who he is.
What if it looks like a game that could take place in the Metal Gear Solid world? It's going to have the same art style, but you have like mechs or something,
well,
and guys fighting. You know what I mean? It'll still sell like hotcakes.
This is what I'll say. It's going to be a mindfuck. That's his MO. I mean, all of his games have, very, very interesting, deep, convoluted plots that go in many directions. I think that's more his trademark than anything. It just, for Konami, it became easy for them to say, make another Metal Gear. Make another Metal Gear. And, I want to
make a mobile game. No.
Yeah, and I think he might want to do something different. It might be refreshing for him.
So we'll have to wait and see. Maybe they'll announce something. I mean, we're 6 months ahead of E3, so maybe by E3 they'll probably have something to announce, whether it's a Kickstarter or who knows. He was probably doing stuff on the side while he was still employed, like at his home, like drawing up ideas and stuff.
Sure.
You don't form a new studio and have your people come over without an idea of direction of what you're doing. It's not like, hey guys, what do we do? Start a new game. So they're gonna have probably something at E3, maybe a teaser demo or something. Even just, a minute of pre-alpha build. That's like those say now.
Maybe we'll get another playable teaser. We'll get a PT2.
That would be funny if they just do something like that again. They'll get some other. They'll get Norman. Hey, get Norman Reedus back. There's nothing to say he couldn't sign on for a new game.
Or Guillermo del Toro.
Or
they were obviously onto something.
Yeah. So okay, we'll see what happens. But good on Kojima, and I mean Konami just being petty, of course. I mean they don't want to look worse, even though they did look worse by having their lawyers say to Kojima, we can't have you come out to the video game awards. That's just petty, especially with Metal Gear Solid up for awards and stuff. It's like, why would you?
I highly doubt Kojima would have accepted the award and then gone on to trash Konami.
No, and plus it would be the one saving grace. Konami said, hey, they could have said Konami could have said, thanks Kojima, you helped make us tons of money for 30 years, thanks a lot. And then people were like, oh, Konami, that was nice of you. But it's like the final sort of kick to the groin
right.
from Konami to all of us.